trying to stir things up a little bit, so I'll explain what my function is, okay? My function is to change the course of history. Why is it 350 years later we are still holding Putney debates? Don't you think the people in the original debates would be disgusted with the fact that we're still here talking about the issues that we apparently can't control? There's something fundamentally wrong about the way we go about trying to change the course of history. If I may just very quickly offer you two assertions, and I don't have the time to go into any detail, okay? I'm hoping that in the new year we can convene again here and go into greater detail. We need a new narrative. The present way of viewing the world, conducting our analysis, of prescribing action, is not fit for purpose. There is nothing in the realm of public discussion today, anywhere, without exception, and that includes my efforts over the last 40 years, that is remotely connected with reality such that we can get the kind of change that the people who originally met in the Putney debates and the people who are meeting now actually want. There's a disconnect between the narrative and reality. You have to bear in mind that narratives, the way we talk about and view the world, shapes the strategies that produces the results. Well, we are complaining, whinging on and on and on about the results, poverty, unaffordable housing, and so on. That must mean we are not viewing the world in a way that enables us to formulate action that delivers the results. And that, unfortunately, does include the Occupy movement. The Occupy movement has done a huge amount of homework in the last 2-3 years. Clive Menzies has chaired a working group that has actually identified the pillars of the change we need. But having said that, the way we articulate the story about what is wrong with our society is not fit for purpose. So it will not mobilize people on a sufficient scale to implement the change. So it doesn't matter how many times you occupy Parliament Square and how well you fill it, the people with the power know that as long as you don't have that narrative, they're going to stay in control. We have been in the we find ourselves in the middle of a window of opportunity that began in 2008. It closes in 5 years from now. 5 years is all that we've got left to find the narrative that resonates with the majority of people in Britain, so that in the election of 2020 we return the people who will institute the change. Right now we will not succeed if we carry on talking in the way that we do, worrying about the detail of specific problems, like the poor people who can't afford the bedroom tax and so on, and distracting ourselves from the essence of the problem which causes all these problems. That's the problem. We don't get down...
Greed.
Pardon?
You mean greed?
No, I don't mean greed, because greed is good, right? We need to boil the problems down to a story that captures not the 1%. The story about the 99 versus the 1% was a gift to the bankers and the rest who wanted to consolidate power in their hands. We walked right into the trap, and that narrative, the 99 versus the 1%, is now enshrined in the literature and the thick books. Mr. Piketty has this. He's against the 1%. There are 2 pages in that book, and it's this thick, that says there's something called the mystery of rent. There's a scholar who is an academic in a university institution, and he says he doesn't understand rent. It's a mystery, and that's the title of that section. And you all go away and think Mr. Piketty's a great guy because he's against the 1%. And he is playing into the hands of the very system that he says he wants to change. We've had 2 revolutions, bloody revolutions in the 20th century, and they've reverted back to a crude form of capitalism because the narrative that those violent revolutionaries had in their heads couldn't work. There were 2 peaceful revolutions, revolutions of the mind in the 20th century in this country. The first one nearly worked. It was the First World War that stopped it. The second one was the 10-year window of opportunity after 1945. We are now in the process of unpicking that experiment. The narrative is wrong. So you ask me, who am I? I'm a nobody. I just want to change the course of history. Unless we find a way to talk about history and about the reality in a way that affects people and mobilizes people, and that includes the middle-class homeowner, we ain't going nowhere.
Thank you.